Caribbean Sea. August 19, 1981. On an E-2 Hawkeye's scope, two returns ignite at low altitude. They race straight toward the carrier group. Aboard the USS Nimitz, no shouting. One flat command, intercept. Two F-14 as split and roll to heading. They settle into firing geometry over blue water. Radio breaks the quiet. Fox 2. White arcs climb into the sun. Seconds later, the threat is gone. Not chance. Design. How do you engineer dominance before the fight starts? Unlock a file from the late 1960s. The Tu-22M backfire appears on Soviet ramps. Anti-ship missiles from beyond 500 kilometers. If bombers reach release range, the carrier is at risk. The Navy needs a shield at sea, at speed, at distance. After F-111B fails, the requirement hardens. Launch from a carrier. Survive arrested landings. Run past Mach 2 with a heavy radar and missiles. Grumman answers with a shapeshifter. F-14 Tomcat. Doctrine in steel, first look, first shot, first kill. Philosophy is intent. Technology makes it real. Start with the bones of the machine. A titanium wing box under the skin. Electron beam welded in a vacuum. Pivots carry brutal aerodynamic loads. Wings sweep from 20 degrees to 68 degrees. Titanium keeps weight down and margins up. Vacuum welds keep oxygen out of critical joints. One flaw, and the wing fails. Now the intakes that breathe for the jet. Subsonic air behaves. Supersonic flow does not. 3 variable compression ramps per inlet, adjusting roughly 40 times per second. They trap shock waves and slow the airflow. They feed the compressors clean, subsonic air. Get it wrong during a hard yaw, and the TF-30 can stall. Flat spin recovery becomes required training. In 1984, the fix arrives. F110-GE-400 engines. About 32% more thrust. Smaller, lighter, more forgiving. Catapult launches without afterburners. It feels like a heart transplant for the fleet. Even engine spacing is deliberate. A broad tunnel between the nacelles. 2 AM-54 Phoenix side by side in the tunnel. The fuselage becomes a lifting body. Wing loads ease near the deck. Control remains crisp in dirty air. When wings sweep, inflatable seals rise. They fill the gap between trailing edge and fuselage. Airflow smooths. Drag drops. The F-14 has no traditional ailerons. At low speed, spoilers command the role. At high speed, twin tailerons take over. Boron-fiber over tungsten wire in those surfaces. A high-end composite from a pre-carbon era. Early airframes carry glove vanes. They extend near Mach 1.2 to balance shifting lift. Later, the vanes are sealed and removed. Useful in theory. Unnecessary in practice. At the crown sits AN/AWG-9, a pulse Doppler radar with serious power. Roughly 10 kilowatts of output. It tracks 24 targets at once. It can guide 6 Phoenix missiles simultaneously. Track while scan keeps searching while prosecuting. Engagements at 200 miles become possible. Phoenix lofts to the stratosphere. It accelerates up to Mach 5. It dives and goes active in the endgame. But the carrier imposes limits. 6 Phoenix are rarely carried to the trap. Weight is punishing for deck recovery. Sometimes a crew must jettison a missile to land. This is maritime air power where physics meets logistics. Place the Tomcat beside its peers. MiG-25. Foxbat is blisteringly fast. Brief runs near Mach 3 are possible. Agility is limited. Heat threatens engines. Radar struggles over sea clutter at low altitude. Tomcat is slower but smarter. It looks down, tracks, and engages earlier. MiG-23. Flogger moves quickly with swing wings. Instability at speed and lighter avionics hold it back. Fleet defense demands reach and networks. Su-27 flanker changes the close-in equation. Superb maneuverability and visual range. By then, Tomcat becomes Bombcat. Lantern pods hang under the jet. Laser-guided bombs and JDAMs ride to targets. Night strikes over Bosnia, Iraq, Afghanistan. Daytime shield, nighttime sword. China's J-82 fits a different doctrine. Direct, fast, limited network support. Against Hawkeye to radar to missile chains, reach matters. Look carefully and a pattern emerges. The F-14 wins as a system node. E-2 Hawkeye detects beyond the horizon. A WG-9 tracks and prioritizes. Phoenix engages at long range. Catabar launches and recovers around the clock. TARPS peers deep beyond the coastline. Own the network. Shape the air war at sea. When the metal ages, the idea persists. September 2006. A final Tomcat leaves the deck. USS Theodore Roosevelt watches it fade. No spectacle, only twin F-110s dissolving into evening. What remains is architecture, not nostalgia. Inside the United States, doctrine matures. NIFCCA links sensors and shooters. E-2D Advanced Hawkeye shares the picture. FA-18EF and F-35C extend the reach. SM-6 pushes the boundary of engagement. Elsewhere, Iran still flies F-14A, local avionics and indigenous weapons installed. A strong design endures in unexpected places. Tomcat's spirit echoes in F-15EX. Sensors, payload, and range as a modern trinity. Super Hornet carries the multi-role reality. From B-2 Spirit to B-21 Raider, the lesson holds. Reach first, no more. Survive the return. Variable geometry fades from the ramp. Adapt to survive moves into code. Sensor fusion stitches the sky together. Data drives command decisions in real time. People still ask the same question. If Tomcat was so capable, why retire it? Because conflict evolves faster than airframes. Maintenance hours exceed mission hours. Threats hide in data rather than clouds. Victory shifts from titanium to information. The F-14 teaches a deeper truth. Coordination wins the long fight. Human and machine in a tight loop. Radar and weapon aligned to the second. A trembling carrier deck and a decisive call. That night, 2 returns vanished in under a minute. The story did not end with silence. It began in vacuum-sealed welds. It continued in boron-fiber tailerons. It lived inside algorithms placing shockwaves in intakes. It hardened in training after flat-spin incidents. It whispered the same doctrine again and again. Do not let the enemy see you first. Now ask the question for this era. When machines analyze faster than pilots can think, who commits? What happens when the decision arrives before the warning tone? Perhaps the night air still remembers. A steady thunder of twin engines guarding a fleet. Technology moves on. Nations change course. The sky remembers. This is Titan Defense, where forgotten stories of war are told again, where the sky still remembers, even when nations choose to forget. Extended thinking.